The Netherlands is world famous for its colorful tulips, iconic windmills, and breathtaking canals. But don't be fooled by the image of tranquility. This small European country hides some curiosities and controversies that will surprise you. For example, did you know that there are more bicycles than people in the Netherlands? Yes, it's true. With a population of around 17 million, the country has more than 23 million bicycles. And here, cycling isn't just a transportation option. It's practically a way of life. The country was built for cycling, and it's more common to see a Dutch person going to work or school by bike than by car. Now, speaking of something curious, in the Netherlands, nudity is treated with an impressive level of openness. Nude beaches are common, and even in parks or at home, nudity is seen very casually. What might shock many people is just part of a comfortable and carefree life for the Dutch. They are known for their liberal mindset and straightforward approach to many topics that would be considered taboo elsewhere. And behind this liberal scenery, there are even more surprises. The Netherlands, one of the most densely populated nations in the world, is literally fighting not to sink. About 1/3 of the country is below sea level, and it's only thanks to an ingenious system of dikes and canals that the Dutch can keep their land dry. Sounds like science fiction, but it's reality. And if you think that's enough, know that the Netherlands, with its reputation as one of the most progressive countries in the world, also faces criticism and controversy. Its liberal policies on drugs, prostitution, and euthanasia divide opinions, both inside and outside the country. What for many is a symbol of freedom, for others is a cause for concern. So, what's really happening behind the beautiful tulip fields and charming canals of the world's most liberal country? Get ready to discover a side of the Netherlands you may have never imagined. The Netherlands has a unique and, honestly, quite brave geography. The country is located in Western Europe, bordering Germany to the east, Belgium to the south, and the North Sea to the west and north. But here's a detail many don't know. About 1/3 of Dutch territory is below sea level. And if that sounds dangerous, know that the Dutch have turned this natural disadvantage into a true masterpiece of engineering. Thanks to a complex system of dikes, dams, and canals, the Netherlands manages to control the water and prevent floods. One of the most impressive projects is the Delta Works, a massive engineering feat that protects a large part of the country from the sea's waters. The Netherlands is undoubtedly one of the most advanced countries in the world when it comes to water management, exporting its expertise to various countries that face flooding issues. But this constant battle with water has also shaped the Dutch way of life. In addition to the dikes and canals, there are the famous polders, which are areas of land literally reclaimed from the sea. The Dutch, with the help of windmills, drained these areas to create fertile lands where cities, villages, and farms now exist. This shows how the country's relationship with water is one of both coexistence and resistance. And despite being a relatively small country, with an area of 41,543 square kilometers, the Netherlands has one of the highest population densities in the world. With 17 million inhabitants, the population distribution is intense, and about 60% of the territory would be underwater if it weren't for these containment systems. This makes it even more impressive that the country continues to grow, despite having to manage this complex geographical challenge. Another curious aspect of life in the Netherlands is the high number of home births. While in many countries hospital births are practically the standard, around 30% of babies in the Netherlands are born at home. This happens because the Dutch healthcare system provides excellent support for home births, and this practice is viewed very naturally by the Dutch, who trust in the highly skilled midwives. For them, home birth is an extension of their simple and practical way of life, a hallmark of the country. And, of course, when we talk about the Netherlands, we can't forget the famous bicycles. With a cycling culture deeply integrated into daily life, the country has more than 23 million bicycles, surpassing its own population. But what's truly impressive is the infrastructure the Dutch have created to accommodate this national passion. There are over 35,000 kilometers of bike lanes throughout the country. Cycling in the Netherlands is a unique experience, with well-marked routes, safety, and absolute respect for cyclists, who have priority at many intersections and streets. The flat geography of the Netherlands also encourages the massive use of bicycles. The country's terrain has virtually no significant elevations, making it easy to get around on two wheels. Cities like Amsterdam and Utrecht are true paradises for cyclists, where it's easier and faster to get around by bike than by car. And don't think it's just a lifestyle choice. The Dutch see bicycles as a sustainable solution, reducing carbon emissions and traffic congestion. Geopolitically, the Netherlands occupies a strategic position in Western Europe. As an active member of the European Union and NATO, it plays a crucial role in international trade. The Port of Rotterdam, for example, is the largest in Europe and one of the busiest in the world, serving as one of the main entry and exit points for goods on the continent. This makes the Netherlands an important logistical hub and a key connection point between Eastern and Western Europe. This combination of innovative engineering, an enviable cycling infrastructure, and a unique coexistence with water shapes daily life in the Netherlands in a way that few other countries can replicate. But how did this land reclaimed from the sea transform into one of the most powerful economies in Europe? Let's find out in the next part. The history of the Netherlands is as fascinating as its landscapes and its relationship with water. What is now one of the most liberal and progressive countries in the world was once, centuries ago, a maritime superpower with an empire that stretched across the globe. But how did the Netherlands go from being a small nation in Europe to one of the most influential in history? It all started with the Germanic tribes that lived in the region during the Roman period. After the fall of the Roman Empire, the area that is now the Netherlands was marked by territorial disputes between medieval kingdoms until it became part of the Holy Roman Empire. It was only at the end of the Middle Ages that the seeds of modern-day Netherlands began to be planted, especially with the growth of merchant cities like Amsterdam and Rotterdam, which soon became vital commercial hubs. But the real turning point came in the 16th century during the fight for independence from Spanish rule. At that time, the Low Countries, as the region was called, were under the control of the powerful Spanish Empire. King Philip II of Spain, with his Catholic faith, tried to impose his religion on the Protestant Dutch, which sparked a revolt known as the 80 Years' War. The fight, which lasted from 1568 to 1648, was bloody but resulted in the independence of the Republic of the Seven United Provinces, what would eventually become modern-day Netherlands. This was the beginning of the Dutch Golden Age, one of the most prosperous and influential periods in the country's history. The Netherlands, small in size, transformed into a global naval and commercial power, establishing colonies in places like Brazil with Dutch Brazil or New Holland in the northeast, Indonesia, Suriname, South Africa, and various islands in the Caribbean. Additionally, the Dutch East India Company became one of the most powerful and wealthy companies in the world. The Dutch were pioneers in maritime trade and amassed enormous wealth from spices, sugar, and exotic products they brought from their colonies. The capital, Amsterdam, quickly established itself as the financial center of the world, and the Netherlands saw the rise of great artists and intellectuals. Rembrandt and Vermeer are examples of artists who flourished during this period, bringing cultural prestige that endures to this day. However, like all great powers, the Netherlands also faced declines. In the 17th and 18th centuries, the country went through wars with England and France, which gradually weakened its global influence. The final blow came with the Napoleonic Wars, when the Netherlands was invaded and incorporated into Napoleon's empire. Independence was restored after Napoleon's fall in 1815, when the Netherlands was reunified with Belgium. However, this union didn't last long, as Belgium separated in 1830. After this turbulent period, the Netherlands went through a phase of rebuilding and adopted a more neutral stance in international matters. It wasn't until the 20th century that the Netherlands regained global significance, but this time not through military or naval power, but through its advancements in human rights, freedom of expression, and a progressive way of life. During the First and Second World Wars, the Netherlands tried to maintain its neutrality. However, in 1940, during the Second World War, the country was invaded by Nazi Germany. This was one of the darkest periods in Dutch history, with the German occupation leading to economic and social devastation. The tragic story of Anne Frank, the young Jewish girl who wrote her famous diary while hiding from the Nazis in Amsterdam, remains a painful reminder of the brutality of that time. The Dutch resistance was fierce, but the country was only liberated in 1945, after the Nazi defeat. After the war, the Netherlands quickly rebuilt its economy and reinvented itself as one of the most modern and liberal nations in the world. The country also gradually abandoned its colonies, granting independence to territories like Indonesia and Suriname. In the following decades, the Netherlands became a pioneer in several social policies that today make it a global example. The decriminalization of drugs, legalization of prostitution, same-sex marriage, and euthanasia are topics that place the country at the forefront of defending individual rights. Moreover, the Netherlands was one of the founding members of the European Union and NATO, solidifying its geopolitical importance and securing a key role in promoting peace and international cooperation. Today, the Netherlands is known not only for its incredible maritime history and great artists, but also for being a model country for tolerance, human rights, and innovation. From a small mercantile republic that sailed the world to a nation that influences the global stage, the history of the Netherlands is one of resilience, reinvention, and progress. Now that we've explored the fascinating path the Netherlands has taken over the centuries, it's time to dive into the tourist attractions this country has to offer. Let's see why the Netherlands is such a sought-after destination for people from all over the world in the next part. When it comes to tourism, the Netherlands has much more to offer than just tulips and windmills. While these symbols are undoubtedly an essential part of Dutch charm, the country is a vibrant destination with a rich history, stunning architecture, and a modern culture that attracts millions of visitors every year. Let's start with Amsterdam, the capital that perfectly blends the old and the new. The city is famous for its canals, which spread throughout the central area and have been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Taking a boat tour through Amsterdam's canals is almost a must for visitors, as it's a relaxing way to admire the architecture of the narrow, leaning houses that line the waterways. And if you're an art lover, the city is a feast. The Van Gogh Museum houses the largest collection of works by the painter, and the Rijksmuseum features an impressive selection of Dutch masters like Rembrandt and Vermeer. Still in Amsterdam, The Anne Frank House is one of the most visited tourist attractions in the city. This moving and historic museum preserves the hiding place where Anne Frank wrote her famous diary during the Nazi occupation in World War II. The visit offers a powerful perspective on the horrors of war and the resistance the Dutch people faced during that dark period. If you want to experience a more relaxed and outdoor side of the Netherlands, Keukenhof Park is one of the most spectacular places to visit, especially in the spring. Known as the Garden of Europe, Keukenhof is the largest flower garden in the world, with millions of tulips blooming in a burst of color from March to May. It's the perfect destination for anyone wanting to dive into the visual essence of the country. Now, if you think the Netherlands is all about Amsterdam and tulips, you need to take a trip to Rotterdam. This city, completely destroyed during World War II, was rebuilt with modern and bold architecture, making it one of the most innovative urban centers in Europe. The Erasmus Bridge, a futuristic landmark, is a perfect example of the blend of modernity and beauty that characterizes Rotterdam. In addition, the Markthal, a massive covered market with colorful murals on the ceiling, is one of the city's most vibrant tourist spots and a great place to try local cuisine. Another city worth visiting is The Hague, Den Haag, the seat of the Dutch government and the International Court of Justice. The Hague is an elegant city, with palaces, embassies, and beautiful squares. Here, you can visit the Peace Palace, which houses the International Court, a symbol of the fight for world peace. The city also offers amazing museums, such as the Mauritshuis, where you can see the iconic painting Girl with a Pearl Earring by Vermeer. For lovers of medieval history, the city of Utrecht is a must-see. Founded by the Romans, Utrecht has a charming historic center with cobblestone streets, ancient churches, and the impressive Dom Tower, the tallest in the Netherlands. Fun fact, Utrecht is also a university city, so the atmosphere is always young and vibrant, with plenty of bars and restaurants to explore. But beyond the cities, a visit to the windmill region of Kinderdijk is one of the most classic tourist experiences in the Netherlands. This UNESCO World Heritage Site consists of 19 historic windmills dating back to the 18th century, and it's one of the best representations of Dutch engineering for controlling water. You can visit the inside of some windmills and learn how they work, and, of course, take amazing photos. Speaking of water, we can't forget the Frisian Islands in the north of the country. This archipelago is perfect for anyone looking for a different experience in the Netherlands. With untouched beaches and a peaceful atmosphere, it's a great destination for those who want to relax and enjoy nature. Many of the islands are only accessible by bicycle or on foot, making the trip even more authentic. And of course, a cycling experience is a must on any trip to the Netherlands. With over 35,000 kilometers of bike paths, riding through the country is one of the best ways to explore its beauty. In cities like Amsterdam and Utrecht, cycling is the dominant mode of transportation, but the Dutch countryside offers some of the most picturesque routes in the world. Imagine cycling between tulip fields, peaceful canals, and quaint villages. It's a unique experience you'll only find there. Additionally, visitors to the Netherlands between April and September have the chance to participate in something truly special: the Alkmaar Cheese Market. This traditional market, which has been held for centuries, offers a fascinating cultural and gastronomic experience, where you can see how cheeses are weighed, negotiated, and sold the old-fashioned way. And, of course, tasting the famous Dutch cheese, like Gouda, is a must. Now, an important tip for anyone planning to visit the Netherlands. No matter the time of year, be prepared for unpredictable weather. Rain can appear out of nowhere, so always carry an umbrella or a waterproof jacket. Oh, and if you're in Amsterdam, watch out for bicycles. They have priority in many areas, and crossing the streets without looking can get you into trouble. The Netherlands is a tourist destination full of contrasts, from vibrant modern cities to peaceful flower fields and windmills. Whether you're an art lover, history enthusiast, architecture fan, or simply a traveler in search of new experiences, the country has something for everyone. Now that we've explored the tourist wonders of the Netherlands, how about understanding how it sustains itself? Let's dive into the economy of this European powerhouse in the next part. And speaking of traveling, did you know there's a way to get cheaper flights to any destination in just 3 minutes? Cheaper than the flights you spend days searching for and comparing prices? There's a free website that explains how it works. To find out, just click on the link in the first pinned comment. After watching this video, hurry over to check it out. When we think about the economy, the Netherlands may seem small in terms of territory, but it is actually a global economic powerhouse. The country excels in several strategic sectors, and despite its compact size, the Netherlands exerts an economic influence that extends far beyond its borders. To begin with, Dutch agriculture is one of the most efficient and innovative in the world. Despite having a relatively small territory, the Netherlands is the second largest exporter of agricultural products on the planet, behind only the United States. That's right, a country so compact manages to compete with giants like the US, They are known for their cutting-edge technologies in sustainable agriculture and for using high-tech greenhouses to maximize the production of flowers, fruits, and vegetables. Tulips, tomatoes, peppers, and cheeses are just a few of the products that the Netherlands exports on a large scale. The Port of Rotterdam is another pillar of the Dutch economy. It is the largest port in Europe and one of the busiest in the world. It serves as a gateway for international trade in Europe, facilitating the flow of goods arriving from all parts of the globe. The Netherlands' strategic geographical location, with direct access to the North Sea, makes the Port of Rotterdam an essential logistical hub, connecting Europe to the rest of the world. Additionally, Rotterdam is known for its highly technological infrastructure, ensuring efficiency and speed in its operations. Another highlight is the technology and innovation sector, with one of the most favorable environments for the development of startups and tech companies. The Netherlands invests heavily in innovation, with tech parks spread across the country, particularly in cities like Eindhoven, which is a true high-tech hub. Eindhoven is known as the Silicon Valley of Europe, home to major companies like Philips and various startups working with artificial intelligence, robotics, and renewable energy. Speaking of energy, the natural gas industry also plays a crucial role in the country's economy. The Netherlands has large natural gas reserves, especially in the Groningen field, which for many years was one of the largest in Europe. However, the country has been gradually reducing its natural gas extraction due to environmental impacts, including earthquakes caused by drilling, which has pushed the economy to seek more sustainable alternatives. In this regard, the Netherlands has also stood out in adopting renewable energy, with significant investments in wind energy, particularly in offshore turbines, as well as solar energy projects. The financial sector is another strong point. The Netherlands is home to major banking institutions like ING Group, ABN AMRO, and Rabobank, and its position within the European Union makes it one of the most important financial centers in the region. Moreover, the country has an attractive tax policy for multinationals, which has led large corporations like Unilever, Shell, and Heineken to establish their headquarters or key operations in Dutch territory. Heineken, in particular, is a national pride and one of the most widely consumed beers worldwide. But the Dutch economy is not just about big corporations. The tourism sector is also extremely relevant. Historic cities like Amsterdam and The Hague attract millions of tourists every year, not to mention the famous tulip fields, windmills, and the iconic cycling culture. Tourism generates billions of euros for the country, and the infrastructure for welcoming visitors is among the best in Europe. Additionally, the cultural industry, with its museums, theaters, and festivals, also plays an important role in the economy, strengthening the Netherlands' image as a destination rich in culture and entertainment. Speaking of quality of life, the Netherlands is considered one of the most developed countries in the world. The average monthly income of workers ranges from 2,800 to 3,500 euros, approximately $3,000 to $3,700, depending on the region and sector. The country has one of the most highly rated healthcare systems in Europe, with accessible and high-quality services, contributing to a high life expectancy. The transportation system is also exemplary, with an efficient network of trains, subways, and buses that connect the entire country. And of course, bicycles are the most common means of transportation, which not only reduces transport costs but also contributes to sustainability and overall well-being. As for the cost of living, the Netherlands can be a bit more expensive compared to other European countries. In Amsterdam, for example, renting a one-bedroom apartment in the city center can range between 1,200 and 1,800 euros, around $1,300 to $1,950. Meanwhile, monthly food costs range from 300 to 400 euros, approximately $320 to $420, depending on lifestyle and regions. Although the Dutch economy is prosperous, it also faces some challenges. In recent years, the Dutch government has been dealing with the environmental consequences of intensive agriculture and natural gas extraction. Excessive agricultural production, especially in the livestock sector, has resulted in high levels of nitrogen emissions, forcing the country to seek more sustainable solutions to protect the environment without compromising its successful agricultural economy. The transition to a green economy is well underway, and the Netherlands is increasingly investing in sustainable technologies to balance its economic development with environmental protection. This includes a massive expansion of offshore wind energy and efforts to reduce carbon emissions in its key industrial sectors. So, even with environmental challenges, the Netherlands remains an example of innovation, resilience, and economic adaptation. A country that, despite being small, competes on the global stage, driven by cutting-edge agriculture, international trade, tourism, and investments in technology. But it's not all sunshine and roses, and, like any other country, there are controversial issues that need to be addressed. Let's talk about that in the next part. When we think of the Netherlands, we often imagine the country's freedom and progressive spirit, and some aspects of Dutch culture really surprise many people. Let's start with something that might be shocking to some: nudism. In the Netherlands, nudity is treated with incredible naturalness, and this is reflected in various aspects of daily life. In saunas, for example, it's very common for them to be mixed, with men and women together, all nude, and no one is there with ulterior motives. The environment is one of relaxation, and nudity has no sexual connotation. It's simply part of the well-being experience. This liberal approach is also seen on television. It's not uncommon to see commercials or programs featuring nude people, but again, nudity on Dutch TV is not sexualized. It's more of an expression of body freedom. This can be a shock to tourists from more conservative cultures, but for the Dutch, it's just another way of living with simplicity and openness. Another interesting aspect of Dutch culture is their direct way of communicating. The Dutch are known for being extremely straightforward, without beating around the bush. If something isn't right, they'll tell you straight to your face without hesitation. While in some places people might try to soften criticisms or difficult conversations, in the Netherlands, they prefer to get straight to the point. And this isn't considered rude. On the contrary, it's seen as a form of honesty and efficiency. It might be a bit jarring at first, but over time, many come to appreciate this sincerity. And here's another impressive fact. The Dutch are, on average, the tallest people in the world. Yes, Dutch men have an average height of 1.83 meters, 6 feet, while women average around 1.70 meters, 5 feet 7 inches. There are various theories about this, ranging from good nutrition and healthcare to genetic factors. Whatever the reason, if you visit the Netherlands, be prepared to feel a bit shorter, especially if it's your first time in a land of giants. But of course, not everything is perfect in the land of tulips. The Netherlands, with all its freedom, faces a series of controversies and social challenges that are worth knowing about. One of the most controversial topics in the Netherlands is the legalization of drugs. Yes, the fame of Amsterdam's coffee shops, where you can legally buy and consume marijuana, attracts millions of tourists. However, the system is a bit more complicated than it seems. The consumption and sale of small amounts of marijuana in coffee shops are tolerated, but the cultivation and supply of large quantities are still illegal. This creates a paradoxical situation where marijuana is sold legally in shops, but its production and distribution largely occur in the black market. Moreover, drug tourism in Amsterdam has caused problems, with local residents complaining about the excess of tourists who come only for the drugs and fail to respect the city and its inhabitants. Another controversial issue is the prostitution sector, especially in Amsterdam's famous red light district. Prostitution is legal and regulated in the Netherlands, and sex workers have labor rights. However, this industry also faces criticism, particularly for issues related to human trafficking and sexual exploitation. Despite government efforts to regulate and protect sex workers, There are still reports that many women in the industry are there against their will or are victims of trafficking networks. The issue of immigration also sparks heated debates in the Netherlands. As a member of the European Union and with a strong economy, the Netherlands attracts many immigrants and refugees. In recent years, there has been an increase in immigrants from conflict-ridden countries, such as Syria. While the Netherlands has a tradition of being an open and tolerant society, the growing arrival of immigrants has created social tensions, with increasing support for far-right parties advocating stricter immigration policies. This has led to a debate about national identity, integration, and the balance between maintaining tolerance and addressing the challenges of welcoming new residents. In addition, there is a housing crisis in the country, especially in major cities like Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and The Hague. Rent prices have skyrocketed in recent years, and finding affordable housing has become a major challenge for both locals and immigrants. This housing shortage is tied to rapid population growth and high demand for properties, which has led to protests and pressure on the government to solve the problem. Another controversy that has gained prominence in the Netherlands is the discussion around nitrogen emissions, mainly generated by the agricultural sector. The government faces a dilemma. On one side, there's pressure to reduce emissions and meet the European Union's environmental targets, and on the other, there's resistance from farmers who fear that new regulations could harm the agricultural sector, one of the pillars of the Dutch economy. Recently, Dutch farmers staged massive protests against the restrictions, blocking roads with tractors in response to government policies, showing that environmental and economic progress don't always go hand in hand. Finally, another controversial topic that puts the Netherlands in the spotlight is the issue of euthanasia. The practice has been legal in the country since 2002, and the Netherlands was one of the first countries to adopt such legislation. While widely supported within the country, euthanasia still generates heated debates internationally. Critics argue that the criteria can be too subjective, and the topic continues to divide opinions on ethics and the limits of medical intervention. So, as we can see, the Netherlands is a country of fascinating contradictions. While it's known for its freedom, innovation, and high standard of living, it also faces complex problems and social challenges. What makes the Netherlands unique is the way it balances all these issues, striving to maintain its essence of tolerance and openness while navigating problems that require complex solutions. And, despite everything, what is clear is that the Netherlands has an incredible capacity for adaptation and resilience. Now, after exploring both the positive aspects and the challenges, it's time to think about the future. How is the Netherlands dealing with these challenges, and what can we expect from the country in the coming years? Let's close with a positive message in the next part. The Netherlands is a country of extremes. On one hand, we have the beauty of tulip fields, freedom of expression, and one of the most tolerant societies in the world. On the other, there are controversies surrounding immigration, environmental and social challenges, and the delicate balance between progress and tradition. But if there's one thing the history of the Netherlands teaches us, it's that resilience is a central characteristic of this country. Despite the difficulties, the Netherlands has shown an incredible ability to adapt and innovate. A great example of this is how the country is tackling environmental challenges. The Netherlands has already begun positioning itself as a leader in the transition to a green economy, investing heavily in renewable energies like wind and solar, as well as technologies that help reduce carbon emissions. A country that once faced the threat of being submerged is now at the forefront of innovative solutions to combat climate change, and the whole world is watching these advancements. In addition, the culture of innovation and entrepreneurial spirit are strong traits of Dutch society. The country continues to attract startups and major tech companies, maintaining its position as one of Europe's leading innovation hubs. And despite social tensions, the Netherlands remains a standout for its openness to dialogue, seeking ways to balance economic growth with social inclusion and diversity. The issue of immigration, although challenging, is being debated at all levels of society, and it's likely that the Netherlands will continue to lead discussions on how to welcome new populations without losing its cultural identity. The country has a tradition of being a land of refuge and tolerance, and it's possible that creative ways will be found to integrate these new residents while managing internal pressures. In the social sphere, the Netherlands has always been a pioneer in progressive policies. With an open and innovative approach to issues like euthanasia, same-sex marriage, and recreational drug use, the country continues to serve as an example of how advanced social policies can be successfully implemented. Of course, there are always challenges and adjustments to be made, but the Dutch commitment to individual rights and social well-being is a fundamental feature of its future. The economy also has good prospects, with the Netherlands solidifying itself as a global hub for logistics, trade, and sustainable agriculture. The port of Rotterdam, technology hubs, and agricultural leadership ensure that the country continues to be a respected economic force. Additionally, the growing awareness of sustainability points to a future where the Dutch economy can balance growth with environmental responsibility. Even the controversies surrounding drugs and prostitution, which raise difficult questions, show that the Netherlands is willing to confront the most complex debates head-on. The government and society continue to discuss ways to improve regulation and protect citizens' rights, while maintaining a strong commitment to personal freedom. In the end, the Netherlands is a country that, despite its challenges, continues to be an example of innovation, freedom, and resilience. What does the future hold for the Netherlands? Certainly, more transformations and creative solutions. The balance between its rich history, liberal values, and focus on the future is what makes the Netherlands an admirable nation. So, if there's one message we can take from all of this, it's that the Netherlands, with all its contrasts and complexities, has a promising future. A future where, once again, the nation will show the world how it's possible to face challenges, reinvent itself, and move forward, always staying a step ahead when it comes to progress and humanity. I hope you've enjoyed everything you've learned about the Netherlands. Leave your opinion in the comments. And don't forget to click on the link in the first pinned comment. Watch now to see what life is like in Latvia, the country led by women.